So it's been a little while since I've reviewed a movie that I've truly thought was horrendous to the point where I would not recommend anybody to watch it under any circumstances, even as a joke, even as like something you watch with your friends Saturday night and just laugh at. The last film I think I would put in that category would be Antrim, which was so bad and so boring that I wouldn't recommend watching it even as a joke. The only other movie I think I've seen this year that I put to this level of crap would be Candyman. But Candyman was at least like abrasive and terrible. Like you can laugh at it. You can do all kinds of political analysis on it. It's the kind of film that you could probably watch with your friends and drop all kinds of edgy comments and have fun. This you can't do anything with because it commits the number one sin any piece of media can. And that is to be really, really boring. And I think in a lot of ways that's worse than being abrasive, being paused, being incoherent, being poorly written, being retarded, being promoting immorality. It's slow, it's boring, it's a nothing burger. This is an Icelandic film, so I guess it's like a nothing casserole, if that's what they eat in Iceland. It's like they made a reindeer casserole, but they left the reindeer out, I guess is what this film would be. But it's really fucking boring. And I can't recommend it even as like something to make fun of because there's nothing to make fun of in this movie. It's just that bad. And frankly, this year hasn't been that terrible for movies. Not a lot has really come out, and theaters were closed for most of the year, but we had Dune, which was really good. We had A Quiet Place 2, which was good. Not as good as the first one, but okay. We had The Night House, which I thought was a really solid horror movie. I can't remember if Nobody or whatever it was called, the one with Bob Odenkirk, came out this year. That was last year. It's kind of hard with COVID because everything gets delayed so much. Even like No Time to Die, which was like not good, wasn't horrible. And it was like watchable. And there were parts of it I enjoyed. Even if there's a lot of like just boringness in it and the ending sucked. But it was watchable. This is not watchable. Or at least not watchable in a sense. I find it hard to be too angry about this movie because this movie was like the cinematic version of Ambien. It was just so slow and so like mellow and so much of a nothing burger or a nothing reindeer casserole that this is maybe the closest I've ever come to falling asleep during a movie. And over all the movies I've seen in theaters, which is probably hundreds over the years, I've never fallen asleep during a movie. I've only walked out of one movie, which was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But I did almost fall asleep during this film, so take that for what it's worth. So Lamb, what can you even say about this movie? So this is an Icelandic movie. There's really only 3 actors who are in it. There's a scene that's never explained where one of the characters gets carjacked and they never reference it again. So I guess those people count. And then there's the goat man at the end, which I guess is another character. But there's really only like 3 people in this movie and one total abomination. So you have a couple, Maria and Ivar, I think their names are, who are farmers in rural Iceland. And really the only good aspect of this movie is we do get some impressive cinematography of rural Iceland, of the mountains, the rivers, stuff like that. Even then it's kind of gray, and I would have preferred if they had have done more of that, like had a bit more variety. But that was like the only good part of the movie, and it was just so mellow I was almost kind of falling asleep watching it. So you have this couple in rural Iceland. They primarily raise sheep and potatoes. They live kind of a comfy life on the farm. It's kind of felt like a documentary about rural life, like one of those Dr. Pol or something much worse. One of those like rural animal shows. So they're just living their lives, and then one day a lamb is born. And it's like there's something special about the lamb, but you don't know what it is. And then the next half hour, they're like caring for the lamb like a baby. and the lamb is always covered up aside from its face. And then at one point, the lamb breaks out of its cradle and walks away. And then we see that the lamb is human from the head down, or one of its arms is a sheep arm, and then the rest of its body is human. And I guess I'll give them credit. The CG is legitimately disturbing. It just doesn't look right. I mean, obviously it doesn't look right, but it actually like kind of freaked me out whenever I saw it for whatever reason. So I guess there's credit for that. But there's this lamb who they, like a goat man, like a satyr or something. I guess a satyr's a goat, but goat and sheep are kind of close enough. Um, that they're caring for as their child, and they name it Ada. And it turns out at one point that they go to like a grave, and I think it's implied they had a daughter named Ada who died, and they think this is like the reincarnation of their daughter in the form of a lamb or something. So then the guy, the husband's brother shows up, and he's initially like, "Look, it's this lamb. It's not a person. It's a sheep." And he's trying to have sex with Maria because I don't know. It's also weird because they say that people owe him money, not that he owes people money, which would make more sense if he had like gambling debts. So I don't know if he was a bookie or like a drug dealer or something. He starts off like getting carjacked and it's never referenced again. So he goes to leave with them for a while and he's like, "You guys are fucking insane." And there's like some funny situational comedy scenes of them eating dinner together with this like lamb creature sitting at the table. And he asks about it, and then they like are just like, "No, dude, just accept it." And he's like going to kill it, but then he doesn't, and then they're best friends. And he like takes the lamb fishing and shit like that. And it's just really weird. It's scary because it's like a fucking baby with a sheep head, but it's not like interesting scary. It's just kind of like gross. So he eventually, the mother of the lamb, the sheep that gave birth to it, keeps trying to get her child back, and the woman winds up killing it and burying its body out in the wilderness. And then the brother tries to um, blackmail Maria into having sex with him by threatening to tell the lamb that she killed the lamb's mother. So then she kicks him out of the house and he goes away. And then while that's happening, the lamb goes wandering out in the wilderness again, and the husband chases it down. And then the husband gets shot multiple times, and you're like, what's happening? What's going on? Is the brother coming back to kill him? And it's like, no, that would have been too good. It turns out it's like this goat man who comes back, and the goat man kills the husband and then takes the lamb away. And then the woman comes back and finds her husband, and then she just yells, and then the movie stops. There's no end, there's no resolution, nothing's explained, it just ends. And it's just like that's the film. Like I don't even need an explanation for any of this. I'm okay with just there not being an explanation. I need something. I need some action. I need some horror. I need maybe a hint about some legend or something like that. But no, you don't get any of it. It's a nothing casserole. There's no reindeer. It's like it's a shepherd's pie with no sheep in it, without any lamb. It's a shepherd's pie with no lamb in it. And it's hard for me to even like criticize this movie because I literally just explained everything that happened in the film. I guess there's a scene where they're watching like soccer or something and they get drunk, and that's like it. It's like, what was the deal with the lamb? What why was there the random goat man? It's not scary, it's not interesting, it's nothing. It's an art film. I don't know if it was like advertised as an art film. My understanding is it was advertised as like a dark fantasy or a horror movie. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's going to be something like Midsummer or even something like Antichrist or something that's kind of like weird, but in an interesting way. But it's not. It just sucks. So don't see Lamb. It's horrible. It's horrendous. it's just not a good movie. I guess if you need something that's like a film equivalent of Ambien, you can just put it on and like fall asleep to rural life in Iceland, but I'm sure there's better like documentaries or something you can put on for background noise. Um, so that's about it. Don't enjoy the movie, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.